Hello, my name is Dean Lemon. Today we will be talking about a case called Benny and the Jets from Chapter 3 of our textbook, Ethical Obligations and Decision-Making in Accounting. This is a story about a man named Benny Gordon that works for Jet Energy Company. Jet Energy is a utility company that provides electricity to the southern states. Benny is the accounting manager and he discovered some irregular accounting entries. In these entries, certain items were being reclassified to make the company's returns appear lower. If Jet Energy's returns were too high, the state would reduce electricity rates. So one way they would avoid this was by recording rebates under operating income in a non-operating account. Benny kept quiet for 2 years, but finally decided it was time to speak up. There are a couple of things that Benny can do about this, possibly including whistleblowing. I would start with reporting his findings to his immediate supervisor. Always try and follow the chain of command in situations like these. It lays out the chain of command in the case. His immediate supervisor is Sarah Higgins, the controller of the division. She reports to Sam Thornton, the CFO, and Sam reports to Vanessa Jones, the CEO. It also tells us that Joan Franks is a compliance officer and that there are 3 audit committee members on the board of directors. If talking to Sarah, his immediate supervisor, doesn't work, he should just keep going up the chain until he finds somebody that is willing to help. If none of his supervisors are willing to help, the compliance officer or the audit committee members should definitely be willing. If you have talked to everyone in the company and no one is willing to help, it may be time to go to the North Carolina Utilities Commission. I wouldn't recommend whistleblowing as your first step, but if nothing else works, it may be necessary. If I were Benny's best friend and he were to ask me for advice, I would put together a plan for him to follow. As Chapter 3 of our text explains, we have a moral and ethical duty to report wrongdoing. It says, "The categorical imperative in Kant's ethical system is an unconditional moral law that applies to all rational beings and is independent of any personal motive or desire." What this means is that we must report wrongdoing even if we feel intense pressure not to. Obviously, some stakeholders will oppose Benny and not want him to go forward with this. They will tell him that if their returns are too high, then the states will lower the price of electricity and Jet Energy won't make as much money. Plus, if Benny reports them now, they are bound to be punished in some way. Benny needs to be strong and move forward. If the North Carolina Utilities Commission finds out on its own, they may be subject to even stiffer penalties. My final advice to Benny is to be strong and report the wrongdoing. He may lose his job, but with the truth on his side, he eventually will make things right. Anytime any of us are faced with a similar situation or decision, we must follow our moral and ethical duty and do what is necessary. We can't allow outside pressure to dissuade us from doing what we know is right.